My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Y'all, I don't know if I can adequately express how excited I am to be finally filming my base product declutter, because it's just gotten out of control. It's gotten out of control. And I'm not someone who, if you watched my video about how my No Buy Year changed my makeup collection, I talked in that video about how I am starting to think about different categories when it comes to makeup. And for me, pretty much all base products fall into the category of necessities, just like basics. I find the one that works the best and I use it until it's used up, and then I replace it with the one that works the best. I don't feel the impulse to kind of collect a variety, collect them all, the way that I sometimes can with color cosmetics. So I've always had quite the minimal base makeup collection, and lately it's exploding in my drawer, and because it's usually minimal, I only have a little bit of space in which to keep it, and usually there are just a couple of things in each one of these boxes, and each one is very clearly organized and clean, and I just reach for the one thing over and over because I think it's like a base. Like, you put on your base and it's the basis for all of the fun. So I think of the base as being basic. I don't know if I'm expressing myself clearly enough. It's just that this is not me. This is not the thing, and it's this way because of PR. A lot of this stuff has come to me. Not all of it, though. I did buy some base products this year, but a lot of it has come to me for testing purposes, and I do think I'm going to end up probably keeping more than just the one in each category, because I have been lucky enough to acquire some beautiful products, both through PR and because I bought some of them myself. But I can't keep all of this. I don't need all of this. It is time to deal with this situation. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. So these are all my base products, or rather, these are all of the products that I keep in my boxes, my little boxes in my drawer where I keep my base products. Not all of them are traditionally considered base products. Some of these are my mascaras. I have a brow gel in here, but these are all of the products that I consider necessary to kind of make the basis of my face, like the basis of my makeup looks. And it is this stuff that has gotten really cluttered and over bloated. So it's all of this stuff that I'm going to be decluttering. So mascara is included. In fact, let's start with mascara. We're going to go category by category. So when I sat down to film this declutter, I briefly considered cleaning off all of these nasty bottles of things, because some of them have gotten really gross over the years. And I do clean my makeup from time to time. I just don't do it assiduously and consistently enough for all of my makeup to be magically clean at the time when I happen to sit down to film a declutter like this. So some of it's pretty grimy, and you can judge me if you want, but I don't care. So these are all of the mascaras that I have kicking around right now. And I can tell you right off the bat that these three are gonna go. This one's quite old. This was sent to me by Tara during my No Buy Year. It's probably well over 6 months old. Yes, it's definitely 6, 7. It's probably almost 9 months old at this moment. But do not fear, I stopped using it months ago because I used it all up, it got all dried out, and I just haven't managed to throw it away yet. So this one was a fantastic mascara. It's the Voluminous Curved Brush by L'Oreal. It's the brown mascara. I really, really loved it. And I optimistically purchased this, the Voluminous Original in Burgundy, because I love a burgundy mascara, and I thought the formula was really good of this one. This one did not pass muster, whereas this got really nice and grippy and dry and fluffy, and this one just was always wet like wet paint, and not buildable, not lengthening. And so it is 6 months old at this point. It's definitely pretty much aged out, but I also never really got any good use out of it. And then this one came to me at the same time as this one from Tara. So this is it's a base. It's like a lash primer, and it's pretty good. I don't really tend to reach for lash primer because I like to keep my lashes from sticking together as much as possible until I've built up a bunch of volume. And I find that base products or mascara, even though they do tend to give you a lot of length underneath your mascara, they also cause my lashes to stick together and it hurts my ability to create volume. This is the mascara I'm currently using. It was sent to me by Lancome through Octoly. It's Monsieur Big. I absolutely love it and it's full swing right now. It's probably about halfway through its life. So grateful to have this one. And then this was also sent to me by one of you recently. It is the Lancome Hypnose and it's a waterproof mascara. And I have been experimenting with putting this on my lower lash line on days when I feel like my eyes are gonna water or when I have watery eyes. I tried it once or twice on my upper lashes, my regular lashes, and I didn't really love it. I didn't feel like it did the most, but I'm gonna keep it around for the occasional use as a bottom lash mascara. So these two are staying and these three are going. So these are all of my primers right now, and this is pretty ridiculous and shocking for someone who used up every last drop of primer during her no-buy-year last year and was actually allowed to repurchase a primer under her no-buy-year rules last year. So I was down to just one primer that I was using and replacing, and then this happened. Some of these have been gifts from friends, some of these were sent to me in PR, and some of them I purchased. I purchased some of them before I acquired so many by other means. So I purchased this one from Makeup Forever and I purchased this Smashbox Eye Primer. Let's talk about the eye primers first. So this Smashbox 24-Hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer, this is like my basic go-to eye primer. It's clear, it works very well, and it is almost used up, as you can tell. Like I'm really down to the bottom of it, so this is gonna show up in my empties quite soon. I'll definitely keep this and go ahead and finish it. This one from Essence was a gift, and I think I talked when I reckoned with this about the fact that when I took it to Portland, it didn't perform well, I think because of the climate, but it performs perfectly well down here in LA. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang on to this one. I think I'll be glad to have it when I use up the one from Smashbox. So I separated these out into their different categories. These are all radiance primers. This is a pore filling and mattifying primer, and these are all green color correcting primers. And this is tough, you guys, because I really love all of these, and I really love primer. And I know that I'm gonna use it all up. I mean, base products is a situation where if I love it, I'm gonna use it all up. It's not like with eyeshadow palettes where I wanna keep my collection small so that I make sure that I'm actually getting use out of the ones that I love the most. It's not like this. Even if I were to put these in order from my favorite to my least favorite, I would still use them all up. I would use up my least favorite as well because all of them are good, all of them are functioning for me, and I do kind of enjoy having a variety of primers. So this is the only pore filling one, so I definitely want to keep it. This is the Becca one I really, really love because it's lotiony, but it also does its job. And it's lotiony, but it doesn't mix with my skincare and mess up my skincare. It also feels very luxe. I like how it smells. I reach for this one a lot. That's the Backlight priming filter. This one from Laura Mercier, I really enjoy. It has one flaw, which is that you really have to let it set before you go in with product on top of it, but it gives a beautiful radiance to the skin throughout the day. This Clarins SOS primer, the Radiance primer from Clarins, is one of my favorite primers I've ever used. It's so, so good. And then the Pure No Filter I really love too. I'm going to absolutely keep using all of these, all four of them, until I use them up. There's just no question of that for me. So it makes sense for me to keep them. It makes economic sense. And it also makes sense in terms of what sparks joy because they all spark joy. Over here, the Makeup Forever one was incredibly expensive. I purchased it with a gift card and it was super indulgent. The Clarins one, just like the Radiance one, I'm so impressed by these Clarins primers, you guys. I'm so, so impressed. Lately, my favorite thing to do has been to take half a pump of this and half a pump of this and mix them together. That's like my favorite way to prime lately. So this is one of my top 2 favorite primers right now. So I'm definitely gonna keep it. This one I don't like that much. This is the one that I don't like that much. So I'm surprising myself by decluttering a green color correcting primer because that's my jam. Like I really, really love green primers, but this one has that sort of powdery, slippy silicone-y feel that the Hourglass Veil has. I've never liked that kind of primer, and even though it is green and redness reducing, and it does a pretty good job of reducing my redness, and it's very beautiful in many ways, I have so much primer, and even though I am going to use all of this up, and at some point I'm going to need to buy or acquire more primer, I think that this one is disappointing enough for me when I use it that I can part with it. These are my brow gels, and I don't use either of them very often because I like to do soap brows. I use soap in my brows almost every day. This brow gel, however, from Australis is very, very, very good, and it's nice to have a brow gel in a little container like this for travel because traveling with my soap brows kit is not very convenient. So I'm very glad to have this, and I'm going to hang on to it. This one from NYX, the Control Freak eyebrow gel, really disappointed me. It doesn't hold my stubborn, wiry brows in place, and I am very happy to say goodbye to it. I guess I could have put this with the primers, but it's not really a primer. It's my green color corrector. I use this almost every day. It's from the Sephora collection. I love it the most of any green color corrector I've ever used. It's the Bright Future color corrector in green. I'm definitely keeping this. It's one of my most used and most beloved makeup products. So this is everything I have that can be called in any way a foundation. These are my foundations. And this, the NARS Sheer Glow in Siberia, has been my old standard for my photo shoots for my business for a couple of years now, probably at least 3 years. This bottle is at least 3 years old. And that is because I only use a little bit when I use it, and I only use it once a week. I never put this foundation on my skin to go out and about in the world because it just doesn't look skin-like. It looks like I've got a face of foundation on, and that's not my vibe when I'm hanging out with people in person. So this has served its purpose, and it's pretty much empty. The last time I did a photo shoot, I tried to get some out and I couldn't. I opened it up and I sort of tried to use the stick from the pump to get more out, and the little stick fell out. So it's done. It's pretty much done. It's gotten to that point where it's not worth the frustration to try to get more product out of this, and it is so, so old. So I am going to go ahead and wash this out and recycle the bottle. I'm not even going to put it in my empties. I'm going to consider this to be its last hurrah on my channel. So these are 3 bottles of foundation from The Ordinary, and I purchased them way back before my no-buy year, when The Ordinary first launched foundations, because I was just really curious about them. So all 3 of them are in the shade 1.0N, so the lightest shade, and in the neutral undertone that they offer. And one of them, this one, is in 1.0NS, which means that it has kind of like a silver mixed into it. It's sort of like an illuminating foundation, I guess. So these 2 are the coverage foundation, and this one is the serum foundation. And I guess I've used kind of a lot of these. The serum foundation in particular feels like it's almost empty. At this point, I pretty much have no use for them. I've kind of had it. I don't find that they wear very well on the skin. There's nothing about the finish that impresses me enough to make me want to use them. I basically reach for them as mixers for my photo shoot makeup looks. I've been mixing them in with this to extend its life for a long time. So the serum foundation I'm definitely ready to let go of, and it's really almost empty. I don't particularly want to keep either one of these 2, but I think I'm gonna hang on to one just for the photo shoots. I'm gonna hang on to the illuminating one, the 1.0NS, And I'm also going to declutter this one, the Coverage Foundation. In a recent Get Ready With Me, I talked about how impressed I have been by this little sample of the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Stick. I have it in the color Opal. It's slightly too cool toned for me, but just a tiny bit of green color corrector balances out. It's so skin-like, it's so nourishing on the skin. I really, really, really love it. And my plan was to get rid of all of these foundations and replace them with a full size of this for the photo shoots. However, in the short time that I've had this little sample stick, it started to smell weird. It smells like it's gone off. And I can't tell if that's just the smell of it that I didn't notice before, or if something got into it. I can't imagine how it could have gone bad in such a short period of time. But the last time I was putting it on my face, it was releasing a smell that made me really quite uncomfortable. It just smells like it's gone off. It smells like it could have some kind of bacteria in it. So I'm not going to use the rest of this up, although it's almost done. I can't even wind it up anymore. I really used almost all of it. I am going to go to the store and smell the ones they have in store and look at them and think about it. If it seems like this was a fluke, or if it seems like this is just the way that it smells and that there's not actually anything wrong with it, I would be able to put up with that as long as I know that there's no danger to my skin. So I am going to say goodbye to that little sample size. And then this right here was sent to me by a subscriber who is a makeup artist in Australia, Sarah. And it's a little sample of the foundation that she uses in her makeup kit. And she sent it because she knew that I was struggling to find the foundation that was light enough for me. And it is a really beautiful shade match for me, but there's something about the texture, it's very, very, very wet. And when I used it, it was like it didn't set down on its own. I would have had to powder it, and I did end up having to powder it, but it was kind of hard for me to work with because I just don't powder. I don't powder my face. I like foundations that set enough so that I don't have to powder them, and I didn't find this to be the right formula for me just in terms of the way that I work with my foundations. So I really appreciated the chance to try it out. I can't exactly remember the brand right now, but I'll leave it linked down below. I don't think I'm going to be using up the rest of this little sample bottle, so I'm going to pass that on as well. These are all of my concealers, and this, my friends, is where my passion lies. I really, really love concealer. It's what I use pretty much every day. I feel like it's sort of my one and only makeup product. It's my best, my bestie. However, not all of these are my besties. This is the one that I purchased. Well, these both are actually. So I was sort of on the hunt for a new concealer situation a couple of months ago, and this is what I ended up with. This is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD in shade 11, which I believe is called Pearl. It doesn't have the shade name on here, but it's shade 11. And then this is the Hourglass Veil, the Hourglass Retouching Fluid Veil in Vanilla, which is the lightest shade. This Hourglass product, the lightest shade, is just a touch too dark to be brightening in any way on my skin, other than the fact that this product has like luminescent brightening qualities. But these two mixed together, just the tiniest touch of the Makeup Forever HD and then a relatively generous amount of the Hourglass, patted out with my finger under my eye, is the perfect, completely skin-like, brightening but not too makeup-y concealer look for me. I'm absolutely in love, and I thought that it was all that I would ever love until I received this from Octoly, and it is the extremely bougie Yves Saint Laurent Touche Eclat High Cover Radiant Concealer. It's YSL's new concealer, so it's in the same shape as Touche Eclat and it has the same name, it's in the same line, but it's more of an actual concealer. What I will tell you is that it's high cover for YSL, but it's not a high coverage concealer. It's nothing like Shape Tape. It's nothing like the one from ColourPop that I have. It's not high cover. It's not even as high coverage as the one from Makeup Forever. It's more radiant. It's kind of like somebody took these two and mixed them together and put it into a bottle. And I absolutely love it. I love it. I've been reaching for it almost every day since I got it. I love, 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 love it. It's also the lightest shade currently, and for this launch they went one shade lighter than they had. I haven't previously been able to use anything in the Touche Eclat range because it didn't go light enough for me. The lightest shade was too dark, but the lightest shade of this now is perfect for me. It's not too freakishly brightening, but it definitely is a brightening concealer on me. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous product. Keeping it. So directly after I had tried that one, this, which is the original Touche Eclat, came up in my Actually Free store. And I just couldn't help myself. I was like, I've got to try it, because they also recently went one shade lighter with the original Touche Eclat. And it is very, very, very sheer. It's very beautiful. It's very sheer. I am going to keep it. I will use it, but gosh, I just pumped out a lot. It's very interesting because it's more pink than the Radiant High Coverage. I hope you will be able to see that with the lights beaming down. But here's the original Touche Eclat. You can see that it's kind of peachy, and it looks like it sort of matches my skin tone better here on my skin. That's partly because a lot of blood sort of rushes to my hands. I have a slightly yellow toned neutral undertone rather than a pink. So this peachiness, again, like it kind of blends into my hand right here, but on my face, this more yellow toned and sort of whitish one suits me better. However, this peachiness is good for brightening just in the realm of color theory. And I have enjoyed wearing this. It doesn't make my face look redder, which is what I'm often afraid of with pink toned concealers, because it's not really cool toned. It's like it's peachy. It's peach toned. So I have been using it on days when I feel like my skin's in pretty good shape and I don't need that much of a boost. I've been using it. It's beautiful on the skin. It's a really lovely luxe product, and I'm happy to have it. I'm really grateful to have it. So I'm gonna keep this one as well. However, I much prefer this one. This is just a stunning product that I'm head over heels in love with. This is one that I feel very special for being able to own. This is my old Shape Tape, and it has been completely dethroned and edged out by these products right here. I haven't reached for it in months, and I really have no reason to keep it, even though I loved Shape Tape for so many years. It served me so well. This was a replacement during my no-buy year. It was my only concealer for a really long time. And this one is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer. Tara sent this to me. It's just so white. It's so white and brightening. It's too bright and white for me, and it really makes me look super made up. I can blend it out, I can make it work, but I really, really look doll-like when I have it on. I look sort of super porcelain, and I look sculpted in that kind of makeup-y way that people look like when they have concealer under their eyes that's a couple shades too bright for them. It's really, really, really bright white. If you're much, much fairer than I am and you have that sort of like super icy, cool toned, bright white skin, then this might be one of the only concealers that will work for you. It's in the color Fair 02. This is my one spot concealer. It's the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in Chantilly, the lightest shade. It's still going strong after a couple of years, and it's the perfect match for my skin tone, which makes it an excellent spot concealer. I really like the texture. It's very effective. I reach for it almost every day. A true staple. So I'm decluttering 2 concealers, and I'm keeping 5, which is more than I thought that I would ever have. It's more than I need according to my philosophy, but similar to the primers, I will use all of these up. And I do love all of them. I love using all of them, and having a variety in this category is somewhat novel and I must say, not unpleasant. So these aren't all powders, but they are kind of mattifying and pore reducing products. This I tried to declutter, like I decluttered it already. It's the Nano Blur. I decluttered it because I couldn't find a way to work with it. And I had put it in my giveaway box, and then a couple of weeks later, I noticed that the pores under my eyes were looking gigantic, and I didn't know why. And I pulled it out and patted it a tiny bit on top of my pores after I had finished my makeup, and it it healed them. It was amazing. And I was so grateful that I decided to keep it. I haven't used it since then. I like used it for this one thing. And I feel like if that were to happen again, I would be able to fix it with the Hourglass product or a powder or something else. I really, really do want to part with this. And I feel like this is it. It's happening. I'm decluttering it once and for all. This is a product that was given to me at the Indie Beauty Expo. It's blotting papers. And I have dry skin, so I almost never reach for blotting. I never reach for blotting papers. I never want them. Sometimes I pull this out and blot with it out of curiosity to see what will happen. And I'm always amazed at how well they work. These Sway blotting papers are really, really gorgeous. And if you're someone who collects blotting paper, or you need to blot your skin, or you blot your skin a lot, I definitely recommend these. This is the matcha ones. They're scented and they smell like matcha and they're really beautiful. I don't know. I'm tempted to keep this because I'm like, what if blotting papers are for me? What if it's a thing? But it's just not a thing. It's not. I'm going to put this in my giveaway box and find an oily skinned friend who will love it. These are my three powders. I almost never powder my face. And when I do, which is usually on photo shoot days, I usually reach for this one, which is the Besame Violet Powder. I like it because it's super brightening, and I'm almost finished with it. Like, it's really, really almost finished. I keep having to pull the sifter out to get at the powder underneath because there's so little that it's hard to get it to come through. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with this powder. I don't think that I'll purchase it again because I really, really like this Kevyn Aucoin, the Neo Setting Powder, and I feel like I can use it for the same exact purpose. It's a little bit easier to deal with because it's a pressed powder. It does have a slight luminosity on one side, so it does do that brightening and glowing thing. It's a very, very beautiful powder, and I'm a huge fan of Kevyn Aucoin. So I feel like this is going to be my go-to powder going forward after I finish this one and put it in my empties. This is a little Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I just haven't been reaching for it because I have this one and I have this one. I don't see any reason to keep this around. I did use a good bit of it, but it's just taking up space at this point. So I'm going to declutter this. All right, so here's how things are looking. These are the ones that I'm keeping, the bits of base makeup that I'm keeping, and these up here are the ones that I'm decluttering. There are 21 pieces of makeup down here, and there are 15 up here. Not bad. Not bad, especially considering that this one is definitely going to go. I actually am itching to get it out of my collection. I just know that when the photo shoot rolls around, I'll be glad that I have it, because I don't think that any of the concealers that I'm keeping could be stretched to cover the whole face in the way that my Shape Tape used to. I could probably do it with the Makeup Forever, but it's so light in color that I think it wouldn't be ideal for that. So I'm going to keep leaning on this until I find a good foundation. And then that foundation will replace this, so I guess I'll have 21 after all. This to me is a huge success. It's going to be so much more airy and open in my drawer. It'll be so much easier for me to see everything that I have now that I'm offloading these 15 products up here. So this is how everything will likely look in my drawer now. I have my primers over here. It's easy to see them all and select from them, including my eye primers. And then right here I have everything else. My color corrector, my concealers, those are the things I reach for the most often, and my mascara right here. And then the brow gel, the powders, and the foundation are all easily accessible, all very visible. You can imagine how cluttered it was with those 15 other products in amongst these. This is way, way better. And that is it. That is it. Thank you so much for watching my base product declutter. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.